Again, he will not fight Lamont Rematch again. He will not fight Tefimo. He will not fight He will not fight those guys.
It's overall been something that he's not been in the ring with. I'm the total package, and honestly, sometimes I think he doubts himself.
He doesn't really love the sport of boxing. He's very good at it, but he doesn't really love it. And if you just kind of understand it from a job perspective.
Chaos erupts as Gervonta Davis threatens to pull out of the Lamont rematch. He tweeted, "IDC for boxing, y'all can have the #1 spot," which has caused confusion and concern among fans. The post suggests that Davis may be stepping away from the sport, leaving the rematch in doubt. His sudden statement has sparked speculation about his future in boxing and whether the fight will still happen. This shows that Gervonta Davis has clearly lost interest in boxing. But this rematch is crucial if he wants to protect the legacy he's built through years of hard work. Despite his frustration, stepping away now would leave questions unanswered. Meanwhile, Lamont added fuel to the fire by tweeting that Tank is, "He gonna sleep this time." Proof.
Y'all, so I know y'all been seeing on Twitter that boy Lamont and Tank been going back and forth. And I ain't gonna lie, it's getting crazy, bro. Lamont talking that one stuff and Tank talking crazy. Tank said, "I don't care for boxing. Y'all can have the #1 spot." And that's why I said with Lamont going up against Tank, it's going to bring, a different type of Tank out, because at first he said he was losing love for boxing. It wasn't exciting no more. But now that he's seen that Lamont was skillful and he had to go up against him and everything, and then he almost, could have got over low-key, and people running with that narrative that Lamont was getting over on Tank, he got to make an example out of him. And that boy Lamont Rematch said that this time Tank going to sleep, y'all. He's saying this time gonna be different. Ain't gonna be no draw. You going to bed. That boy Tank said that he'll really pull up on Lamont right now. That's how much he ready to go up against Lamont. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Now it's starting to look like the old Tank, where he's starting to go back and forth with his opponent and everything. And to be honest, like I said, I'm still standing on it. I think that boy Tank is literally go walk Lamont Rematch. He obviously feeling confident because he back talking and stuff now. And we seen that he been in the gym rocking out with Calvin. And then one thing I do want to say about Lamont Rematch, he keep on talking about that little moment he had where Tank took the knee. Tank said, bruh, it was because of Braid winning his. If you looking for a win or something like that, you don't even need to belong in boxing and trying to go up against somebody like Tank. It's like you're trying to find any way to say, I'm the winner. That's why I said, bro, this rematch is possibly going to be one of the biggest fights in boxing, because now they went from being like childhood, friends or whatever they was, like working in the same camp, to being rivals now. And one thing I want to say, y'all, is don't be surprised if this fight ends up like the Frank Martin fight versus Tank. Because y'all remember Frank Martin was saying what he was going to do, and he got dropped, bro. I think it's like the 6th or 7th round. I'm telling you, I can see that boy Tank actually taking.
As many believe Gervonta Davis is now afraid to face Lamont Rematch again. Fans and analysts alike are questioning his willingness to step into a high-stakes rematch. His recent comments and sudden disinterest in boxing have only fueled the speculation. Critics point out that Davis has a history of avoiding difficult rematches, including never running it back with Ryan Garcia. Now, with Lamont growing more confident and vocal, people are starting to wonder if Davis is truly ready to defend his name, or if he's trying to walk away before the challenge.
We will never see that fight happen again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again. He will not fight Lamont Rematch again. He will not fight Tefimo. He will not fight, He will not fight those guys. That's just not who Tank.
Davis's initial performance against Lamont Rematch didn't live up to expectations. Many fans were left questioning whether he still had the same explosiveness and sharp instincts he once showed in previous fights. One major factor cited by critics was the absence of his longtime trainer, Calvin Ford. Without Ford in his corner, Davis seemed disconnected, lacking the usual strategic edge that guided him through difficult matchups. The chemistry between fighter and coach can be critical, and Ford's influence has long been seen as a stabilizing force in Davis's career. His absence may have exposed cracks that were previously hidden.
So Tank Davis versus Lamont Rematch goes to a majority decision draw, with Tank retaining his WBA lightweight title. Now, I did not score this fight a draw. I had it 7-5 to Lamont Rematch. I thought he had the ring generalship and effective pressure. He was landing the jab and effective combinations. Tank, as usual, had a very low output, and he was relying on one big shot. I gave Rematch the first 3 rounds, Tank the next 3 rounds, and then Rematch 4 the last 6 rounds to win the fight. Not to mention, Tank did take a knee in the middle of the fight. By rule, that should have been considered a knockdown. Yes, it was to get his mouthpiece, and that's why they didn't rule it a knockdown. But anytime a fighter takes a knee, that's a knockdown. And that would have given Roach one more point to win the fight. Now, I'm sure they'll run it back. I mean, Lamont Roach absolutely deserves a rematch. He just had the fight of his life. He wasn't scared to go toe-to-toe with Tank. Landing his combinations, the bigger counters, and the more effective shots. He definitely deserves a second payday. Now, in the co-main event, Gary Antoine Russell put on an amazing performance. I think he won 11 or 12 rounds against Raya Valenzuela. Great hand speed, good combinations, masterclass to win the WBA title. And then in the featured bout, Alberto Puello beat Sandor Martin to retain his WBC title. He landed the cleaner left hands, definitely won the last 2 to 3 rounds to edge the fight. But overall, good card. I do think Roach won the fight, though.
Davis has long faced criticism for choosing opponents that some say pose minimal risk to his undefeated record. In the case of Lamont Roach, many assumed Davis would dominate. However, Roach presented an unexpected challenge, proving more skilled and determined than many anticipated. As a result, there's been growing speculation that Davis may not pursue a rematch. Critics suggest that avoiding a second fight might be a strategy to protect his legacy from further damage, especially given the public backlash surrounding his performance in the first bout.
I think Tank been cherry picking for a long time, but I think Tank got the talent to be an all-time great. He just don't want to have a resume for whatever reason. So I think this is going to force him to go see people.
Step up a little bit.
It showed even his fans, it kind of took that allure off. Like, oh, this nigga not perfect. He can't just whoop anybody ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think Lamont should have won the fight on the technicality. If it wasn't a knockdown, the ref wouldn't have started counting. He started counting. He only stopped because Tank told him to stop. He told that nigga, no. I'm like, no, stop. Nigga, he was like, oh, my bad.
You take away the jabs, Tank landed more. Percentage was higher. I'm all about connection, bro. I think Tank did a better job in the fight. I gave Lamont maybe one of the early rounds. After round 6 or 7, I think Roach put in very good work and kind of matched whatever Tank was doing, or Tank matched whatever Lamont started doing. The technicality, bro, that was different.
Time in his career, Gervonta Davis faced an opponent who truly pushed him to the edge. Lamont Roach's performance was not only tough, but arguably one of the strongest displays against Davis. Following the fight, Davis's cryptic tweet about not caring for boxing anymore added fuel to the speculation. Many fans and insiders interpreted it as a sign that Davis might be avoiding the rematch out of fear or self-doubt. The idea that Davis could be intimidated by Roach's skill and confidence has now become a central talking point among boxing circles.
To override his decisions or knockdowns. Some skeptics have suggested that Willis's call benefited Davis unfairly, but we do not subscribe to that notion. In our long experience judging fights, we see no evidence of favoritism, only a referee prioritizing the physical safety of a fighter who appeared compromised by an eye injury. Which I actually get. I understood that statement because, hey, look, Steve Willis he didn't call it a knockdown.
You take a knee like that looks like a knockdown. All right?
So I think it's going to be very difficult for the New York State Athletic Commission to review this and then call it a knockdown. Because here's the thing. The fight could have gone completely differently if Gervonta was told that it was a knockdown officially. Gervonta could have then responded differently because, let the truth be known, Gervonta didn't even know it was the 12th round when it was the 12th round. He thought it was the 8th.
Forgot where he was at. He thought he was still in the 8th round. He thought he still had rounds to go.
12th round. He said, damn, it's the 12th? Yeah, it's the 12th and you're down. Tank didn't know what round it was. So, if it was brought to his attention by Steve Willis that it was officially a knockdown, the fight could have gone differently, making it very difficult to review this after the fact and overturn it. But the problem is still, though Steve Willis did not call it a knockdown officially, he also didn't call it a slip.
You take a knee like that looks like a knockdown.
He had to pick one or the other. And according to the rules, if it's a slip, the referee has to let it be known that it's a slip. Slips. When a boxer goes down and the referee deems it not to be a legal knockdown, they should immediately...
The bout turned into a flashpoint when Davis suddenly took a knee. The moment wasn't ruled a knockdown, sparking confusion and debate. The NY SOC later admitted that a technical issue prevented the ringside team from reviewing it properly. This revelation raised serious questions about how the fight was judged. The backlash against Davis after the Roach fight was immediate and intense. One of the biggest criticisms came from his explanation that grease in his eyes led to the knee in the 9th round. Many fans weren't buying it, especially when comparing his reaction to other fighters, including women who have fought through worse. The public reaction at the venue, including boos, made it clear that the crowd wasn't impressed by his justification. This moment has become a stain on Davis's reputation, especially for a fighter known for his toughness.